in a nice cross-legged seat or wherever you're comfortable sitting, just taking a few moments to come to center, to close the eyes. As we close the eyes from the gaze toward the outer world, the gaze turn toward the inner world. And then a brief check-in with ourselves, just asking ourselves how we're feeling today. As we enter into this new day, how are we feeling? How are we arriving? And deepening that connection to the breath. And as you take a few deep breaths here, slowing them down, I'm going to read our sutra for today, our Radiance Sutra. It says, close the ears that track the outer world and open the ears of the soul. Engage the muscles at the base of the pelvis, the intimate, special place, and cherish the vibrating energies thus contained. The song of creation, the unstruck chord, is playing in your heart. Listen in. Meditating on the sound of your own life current. Enter the shimmering place of the Creator. And so we're going to use this sutra, this meditation, and what I reckon they're talking about is one of the pranayama techniques, Brahmari breath, that we use, where we close the ears, we make that humming sound like the bumblebee. It's called the bumblebee breath. And that just really helps us to hone in attention inwards. So we literally close off the ears that listen into the outer world, and then we open the ears that listen into the inner world. And then this is adding one more element that we often practice separately, but we haven't often practiced them together. So we're going to do that together, just 3 rounds. And that is on the exhalation, engaging the pelvic floor. So most of us here are women. We're very familiar with Kegel exercises. It's kind of that, but not as strong. It's just a little engagement. So there are 2 diaphragms, one the pelvic floor, and then one our diaphragm. And they actually breathe together without us knowing it. Every time we inhale, the diaphragm here pulls down, and slightly the same thing happens in our pelvic bowl too. The pelvic floor slightly pulls down. And then as we exhale, the diaphragm here with our lungs contracts and draws up, pushing out the air. And also the diaphragm of the pelvic floor will contract and pull up. And we're just going to exaggerate that a little bit. So before we add the sound, just let your hands relax. And take a deep breath and bring your attention down to your pelvic floor. And feel it, I call it like a flower, it's opening. Like the petals of a flower that are expanding and blossoming. Then as you exhale, feel this slight drawing up of your pelvic floor, of your lower belly. Good. As we inhale, the pelvic floor just relaxes, and as it relaxes, it expands slightly. And as you exhale, feel the pelvic floor drawing in and up. Feel the lower belly drawing in and up. Good. Inhale. Now this doesn't have to be super strong. Nothing more than say 60%. Exhale, drawing in and up. Good. Inhale, and then add a pause. Pause on the inhale. Everything is open. And then as you exhale, draw in and up again. And then add a pause. So we're pulling up through the pelvic floor gently. The lower belly gently pulling in, holding it. And then release. All right, so that is the breath in the pelvic bowl, which is really good for stimulating the root chakra, making us feel really grounded, secure. Also gets the blood moving more into the lower body, into the pelvic bowl. And also, as we know, strengthens the pelvic floor, which is useful. So we're going to add that to our Brahmari breath, 3 rounds. So you're going to be closing your ears in a moment. We just take our thumbs. You don't have to do it now or else you can't hear the rest of the instruction. But place your thumbs either against this little ridge, the outer ear, so you can block and cut off the sound. Or you can stick your thumbs in your ears, whatever you're more comfortable with. Let your elbows relax, your shoulders relax, hands to the head. In just a moment, we'll block the ears. We'll take a deep inhale. Let the pelvic floor release, and as we exhale and pull the pelvic floor up and in, the belly up and in, you make a humming sound like a bumblebee until all the breath is empty, and pause in silence, and then inhale again. And then exhale, continue. So we're going to do that for 3 rounds. When you finish, just drop your hands to your knees. All right, let's go take the hands to the ears. Deep breath in. Release the hands. And let the breath flow in and just feel that current of life that is flowing through you. Okay. And keeping the awareness, the attention down to the lower body, we're going to start just to make some circles, gentle circles. And then can we keep that awareness to that breath as we move through the practice? As we inhale, there's this opening, this relaxing, stretching, and as we exhale, a gentle contraction, gentle squeeze. Reverse and take that the other way. Exhale that gentle squeeze, connecting to the pelvic bowl, connecting to the lower body more deeply. And then next time we come back to center, extend the hands out in front of you and take your bow. Breathing in again, connecting to the diaphragm and the pelvic bowl. Exhale that gentle squeeze, that gentle lift too. And let's take 2 more breaths here. One more breath. And on your next inhale, slowly rise, coming all the way up. We're going to take our hands behind our back, interlacing the hands together. And then let's just take a moment to roll one shoulder back, roll the other, roll one shoulder back, roll the other. And then pressing the knuckles to the floor, lean back until you feel your knuckles on the ground. So we want to stabilize the hands here. And keeping the knuckles tacked to the floor, inhale, lift your chest, roll the shoulders back, opening the front body. As you exhale, let the chest sink, shoulders roll forward. Inhale again, open up the chest and the shoulders, roll everything back, open the heart. Exhale, release. One more breath. Can we connect to the pelvic floor? Breathing all the way up to the heart center. And then exhale, release. Beautiful. Take your hands to the floor, separating them this time. Lift your feet up. Notice which ankle was in front. We're going to lift the feet up in line with the knees. Pause here for a moment. Push down through the sit bones, up through the crown of the head. That might be enough. Or reach the hands forward. Settle through the shoulders. Start to engage with your core. Good. Inhale here. Can you breathe down into the pelvic bowl? And then exhale that gentle squeeze and lift up. 2 more times. Inhale. Breathing into the pelvic floor. Feel how it relaxes. Then exhale a squeeze and a lift. 1 more breath. Beautiful. And then recross. Cross the left ankle over the right. And we're coming back into those stretches, those little releases for the hips. Hands to the knees. Breath in as we go forward. Take it all the way around. Exhale as you go back. Maybe that little squeeze and lift. Inhaling forward. And exhaling back. And then reversing that. Take it around the other way. Exhaling back. Beautiful. Inhaling forward. And exhaling back. Perfect. So we're coming back to center. Hands reach out in front of us. Breath in. And then exhale, taking our bow. Breathing into that outer hip. Breathing all the way down to the pelvic bowl. And exhaling that gentle squeeze. Like you're trying to push that current within you all the way up to your heart. Inhale. Like our body were the instrument. And the breath, that plucking of the strings. And the sutra says, there is the song that plays in the heart center. Listen in. Okay, slowly we're going to rise, coming all the way back up. This time, the hands are going to come behind us. We're going to take our feet to the floor. Good. And then we're going to press through the hands, straighten the arms, open the chest. That might be enough. Or lift your hips up, getting your back flat and parallel to the floor, lifting up through the waist. The neck is long, the gaze is toward the sky. One more breath. And exhale, lower your hips down. Good, and take your feet a little wider. Now I'm going to turn toward the long edge of my mat. I advise you to do the same, even if you're up and face away from me for a moment, because we're going to turn to the front and to the back of the mat. Hands are still behind us. Feet are on the floor, knees are wide, and we're just going to let the knees drop from side to side, taking a little twist. Perfect, just to help wake up the hips. Lovely. The next time the legs go over to the right side, we're going to roll towards that right hip. So we sit up more straight, so away from our hands, sitting more straight. And let's just exaggerate the twist a bit more. Twisting over toward your right, left hand comes to the back or the outside of the right thigh. Really twisting around the waist, breath in as we lift and lengthen. Exhale, looking over the right shoulder. One more breath here, inhale. Exhale, maybe connect to that lift from the pelvic floor. Good, and then unwind just until we're facing the same direction as this front leg. And then bring your right ankle, if it's not already, so it's a 90-degree angle from your right knee. And the same with your back leg. Can you get 90-degree angles? So your knee is directly from your hip, ankle directly from your knee. And then we're going to start to lean forward. Find the juiciness of that stretch, and then inhale, come back up. And then we're going to go a little bit toward the right, so over the knee. And then coming back up, and again, bring yourself right to this center. Try not to sneeze here, by the way. And then coming back up to center. And then you're going to go toward your foot. So turn your whole body toward your foot and just see how much we can lean in that direction. And then back. Good. And then back towards center. And then go as deep as you can. We're going to stay there. So you might be able to drop down to your forearms. And if it feels good to let your body sway a little bit side to side, let that happen. Or notice what it feels like from one side to the other. Do you get more stretch if you're over to the right or over to the left or directly in the middle? Connecting to the breath, connecting to that deep stretch through the hip here. Perhaps connecting to that breath all the way down in the pelvic bowl. Good, we're going to take one more breath there. And as we next inhale, we're going to rise and come all the way back up. We're going to take the knees back to the sky and the same thing to the other side. So we're going to tip over to the left foot in line with your left knee, right knee in line with your hip, ankle in line with the knee. And then we're just going to start to go forward over the leg and then pull back. And then towards the left side. So take a diagonal lean to the left. See how that feels. Back to center. And then over toward the foot. Good. Then come back to center. And then this time we're coming straight down the middle. And then as we've experimented in all three directions, notice if there is a direction that gave you a little bit more sensation to work with. Maybe you're down on your forearms. Maybe you have to stay upright a little bit more. And wherever you are, coming back to breath. And perhaps plucking that string of your breath, drawing up through the pelvic floor as you exhale. Inhale, letting it release. And just connecting to that current of life flowing through you. And the song, let it plays at the heart center. And one more breath here. And then slowly we're going to rise. Come all the way back up. Good. Come back through the center. Just a little rock of your knees side to side. And then we're coming back over to the right side. So the knees are going to go over to the right. We're going to drop them there. Good. This time we're going to grab hold of our left foot. Draw the heel in towards our sit bone. Good. And then we're going off. So slightly lean back. So lean back into your right hand. Good. That might be enough. The knee is on the floor. We're just pressing the hip forward. Or still in this slightly leaning back direction, maybe you can come down to your forearm. So you start to get a really deep stretch into this left thigh, to the hip flexor. Good. So if you need to be on a straight arm, that's okay too. If it's okay on your forearm, beautiful. Breathing nice and deep into that long stretch of the hip flexor. Taking one more breath here. Okay, now we're going to press off of that right arm, coming all the way back up. And we're going to turn ourselves towards pigeon pose. If pigeon pose isn't an option, come back again into that 90-90 degree and take your stretch one more time here. If though, you can pull it up into pigeon pose. We're going to draw that left leg straight back behind us. Make sure it is straight back. And then taking yourself down. Now in 90-90, that right ankle was in line with your right knee, perpendicular, parallel to the top of the mat. However, in pigeon pose, that might not be possible anymore. So you can always pull the heel in. If you want to challenge yourself, you could play with how parallel we can get this right shin. Just be mindful that the more parallel the leg is, the stronger of a sensation it's going to be. And settling in here. Breathing deeply into that right hip. Lengthening that left thigh, so we're also getting a bit of a stretch into that left hip flexor. Good, let's take 2 more breaths here. And before we come out of it completely, let's just come to our hands. Straighten the arms. And then we're going to pull the chest up towards the sky. And as you do that, feel like you're pulling your back leg toward your front leg. So there's this little squeeze. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the chest. If anyone wants to take their hands away from the floor, one or both, you can, to intensify, to increase that stretch a little bit more. Take one more breath. It's perfectly okay if both hands stay on the floor too. And then hands are going to come down. We're going to sit back onto our right sit bone and then bring both knees up to the sky. Hands behind us. Give the legs a little rock from side to side. We're going to do the same sequence on the other side, but we forgot the twist on the other side. So let's start with that first. We're coming back into the left position. Knees drop over to the left. And then swing the arms over toward that left side. Right hand comes over to the outside of your left thigh. Looking over your left shoulder, spine nice and tall. And just notice how when we do engage a little bit through the lower belly, through the pelvic floor, how that does allow a little bit more depth in our twist. All right, unravel from the twist. Reach back for your right ankle. Draw the heel towards your sit bone. And then leaning slightly back, and then we're going to tip over toward the side. So you're in a diagonal. Your body is leaning back, your chest straight line from your knee, slightly in a back position. And then pressing the hips forward, and the more forward we press the hips, the more stretch down the top of that thigh we're going to feel. Keep the shoulders back. The heart is lifted and open. And of course, the breath is slow, intentional. Perhaps we're still connecting to the breath all the way down in the lower body, down in the pelvic bowl. One more breath here. And then slowly we're going to release, coming back up. Good, so we can either decide 90-90 again, or extend that right leg behind you. Push yourself over so you're more centered over the legs. Right leg back. Pigeon pose. If not pigeon pose, settling once again to our 90-90. And then settling, sinking. And let yourself melt here. Until we return back to the breath. And the inhale like a flower blossoming. Pelvic floor relaxes, and as we exhale, it draws in and up again. As we use this breath through the lower body, we're connecting deeply to the root chakra. So that we're starting our day very grounded from a place of centeredness, security from within. So no matter how strongly the storms are blowing around us, we have a strong anchor. One more breath. Slowly we're going to back ourselves up and then pause there. So we're pausing on our hands, arms are straight. Pull up through the chest, lifting through the heart, and that might be enough. Or you might take one arm up and try to get a little bit more lift, pulling your back leg towards the front. Maybe both arms lift. Big, big stretch. And then exhale, we're coming back to our seat, back to our left hip, knees bend toward the sky again. Let the knees drop one to the other side. And then we're going to come into a wide straddle. So extending the legs out to a wide straddle pose. Toes pointing up towards the sky. And let's just make a couple of circles here. A couple of circles one way and then the other. Beautiful. And then the hands are going to drop to the floor right down the middle. Breath in as we lift. Exhale as we fold, and maybe we just stay there, or you continue to walk your hands forward. Wherever you are, make sure you're connected to the breath. We connect back to the breath in the pelvic bowl. Breathing into the pelvic floor, exhale that gentle lift, a gentle rise up. Engage the muscles at the base of the pelvis, the intimate, special places, and cherish the vibrating energies thus contained. And one last breath here. And then slowly we're going to rise, rolling ourselves all the way back up. We're going to pull our legs back in, coming back to our seat, maybe a little wiggle around. And as we're coming to the end of our practice, we're just going to finish with another 3 rounds of that Brahmari breath. So again, we're closing off the ears so that really we're tuning into that inner world. Notice how it just gets quiet. There's this loudness of the inner world, the inner landscape that arises. As we do this, inhale, connect to the pelvic floor. Exhale, pull in and up. All right, let's take the hands to our ears and close them off. Deep breath in. Releasing the hands to your knees when you finish. And take a moment to notice that shimmering, that vibrating, that current of life that flows through you. And the song that is now playing in your heart. Perhaps a flash of gratitude or a joy, or just simply contentment. And sweeping the arms to the sky, a big inhale and stretch. And exhale, hands to your heart, give yourself a bow. Thank you so much for your practice. Spending time with us this morning, getting out of your bed in the deep darkness. Have a beautiful morning. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Just what I needed.